From the Tennessee Valley Weather Center, this is your weather tonight.
Skies continue to become mostly clear as we head into the overnight. Here's your hourly forecast. And with drier air in place on northeasterly winds, that allows us to cool efficiently down into the lower 60s, if not the upper 50s in a few locations. Warming quickly, though, as we head through the morning with mostly sunny skies, back into the mid to upper 50s through the late morning and into the low to mid 80s for most of us as we head into the afternoon hours of our Wednesday. Here's the futurecast showing clearing skies out there. A northerly wind tonight, not too strong. Mid to upper 60s as we head through the early morning hours, getting us back down into the lower 60s by daybreak. Futurecast may be overdoing the cooling just a little bit, but I would not rule out a few locations in southern Middle Tennessee getting down to the upper 50s around daybreak and then warming back into the 80s by afternoon. But I think it's only low to mid 80s across the area. Maybe a few spots here and there closer to the upper 80s over northwest Alabama. But Futurecast often overdoes those temperatures by a few degrees. Notice the strong northerly to northeasterly wind sustained at 15 miles per hour by the afternoon. Wind gusts may be as strong as 20 to 25 as we head through the heat of the afternoon, falling back into the 70s by the early evening. Once again into the 60s overnight, and we may be in the upper 50s, lower 60s once again early on our Thursday morning as a reinforcing shot of cooler and drier air moves into the area. All the main action down to the south where Hurricane Idalia will move on shore. That's where all the rain and wind will be, but we'll be breezy as we head through our Wednesday here on the outer circulation because that pressure gradient. Winds weakened by Thursday, staying mostly sunny, but we'll still see a light northerly breeze, and that helps reinforce the drier air here. Few locations may not get out of the upper 70s on Thursday for daytime highs. Most of us in the lower 80s, so moisture does start to come back by Friday. And Futurecast starting to spit out a few showers. I have a 10% chance of rain on the board for Friday. It's not showing an icon on the 7-day because it's only a 10%. If it continues to look like this, we may have to put a low-end chance of showers officially on the 7-day forecast. So just keep that in mind. And then as we enter the weekend, continuing to warm up closer to the upper 80s and the lower 90s. Here is that temperature trend going through the rest of the week. Lower 80s for the next few days, low to mid 80s, especially on Thursday, lower 80s. Can't rule out a 78 or a 79 here and there. Notice upper 50s for morning lows by Thursday morning. Warming back to the mid to upper 80s through the rest of the week and near 90 degrees as we get ready to start early next week. We're watching the tropics very carefully. Now, before we get into the details with Idalia, I will say that we still have Major Hurricane Franklin out in the western Atlantic, still a Category 3 storm. And Tropical Depression number 11 out there, which may soon become Tropical Storm Jose, but both of those staying well out into the Atlantic, neither one a threat to the United States. So our tropical update tonight going to focus solely on Hurricane Idalia in the Gulf of Mexico. And you see on the recent satellite frames here that a small eye has cleared out here in the very middle of Hurricane Idalia, and that very small pinhole type eye usually allows for rapid intensification to happen, and we've been noticing that starting to take shape this evening with pressures rapidly dropping as the recon planes pass through and give us new information. As of the 7 p.m. advisory, and keep in mind we get a new advisory at the top of the hour, but as of the 7 p.m. advisory, maximum sustained winds were up to 105 miles per hour, making it a Category 2 hurricane. But by the time you're watching this, it may already be a Category 3. Pressure at that time was 965. Less than an hour ago, we saw on the recon plane that it was already down to 962 on the edge of the eye. So it may be as low as 959 to 960 now, and it continues to drop and intensify, moving north to northeast at 16 miles per hour. Expected to become a major hurricane overnight. Category 3 is the forecast, and I can't completely rule out something stronger than that, closer to Category 4, given the recent trends with the rapid intensification. Can't guarantee that, but at least a Category 3 at landfall, it looks like. Then it curves up through southeast Georgia into the Carolinas before moving into the western Atlantic. On this track, no direct impacts with rainfall or high wind for any part of the Tennessee Valley. The only indirect impact we will see is that pressure gradient wind tomorrow that's gusty 15 to 25 miles per hour, but no inclement weather in terms of rain or storms or anything like that as we move through. You will get your first cup of coffee in the morning, lower 60s to start the day. And again, in Kent, a few locations in the upper 50s, mostly clear skies to start our Wednesday. And then warming up into the low to mid 80s for most of us. A breezy northeast wind sustained as high as 15 in the afternoon, gusts as high as 20 to 25. Partly cloudy, becoming mostly sunny through the day. Mostly sunny for Thursday, highs in the lower 80s, if not the upper 70s in a few spots after starting out in the upper 50s. And then we start to warm up headed into the weekend, and by Labor Day and then the first half of next week, we're back into the lower 90s. There's a look at your latest 7-day forecast. Kelly Rossins in the Weather Center tomorrow morning with another check of your local weather.